ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य तम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So thank you. So we will continue and hopefully complete chapter 9 today of the Bhagavad Gita. If I remember correctly, we completed up to verse 29. Yes, yeah, and we will be continuing from verse 30 onwards. So we are in a very wonderful section of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9 itself is very, very sweet. And this section from 26 to 34 is where the glories of Ananya Bhakti, pure Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti are being described by Lord Krishna. So it is like Krishna opening up his heart. Sometimes we talk to big and powerful people, but most of the time when they talk to us, they will talk at a very external, formal level. They may be nice, they may be courteous, but still they will not open up their heart. The opening up of heart is done only with those who are close, isn't it? Do we all just open up our heart to anybody? We don't. We open up our heart to those whom we consider are close to us, dear to us. So Krishna in this section, subsection, is actually opening his heart in terms of pure devotional service and is explaining to us how, what he sees as pure bhakti, how he deals with devotees who are pure devotees. How does he deal with them? What does he think about them? So Krishna is revealing his psychology in these verses. And this is very important. Why is it very important? When we want to please somebody, if we want to please somebody, and bhakti is about pleasing Krishna, isn't it? I hope we all are clear about that. This is not just about dumping some flowers and some food at Krishna. Take it, it's given and it's written. Here it is. Quietly take it and let's be done with it and give me the result. That's not what we are talking about, bhakti. We're talking about pleasing Krishna. Anukulyena Krishnanushīlanam bhaktiruchyate. Anukulyena, in a pleasing way, serving the Lord in a positive way, so that we please Him. Tat prityartham, to please Him. So pleasing Krishna is at the center of all our devotional endeavors. It is not just about following certain checklist. A did. I pulled through my 16 rounds. I read the Bhagavatam. I gave food to Krishna, put tulsi on it also. So we are not in a process where we are, just mechanical and, Krishna has to give us the results because he told and I have marked all the ticks. We are in the process of pleasing. And I hope you all know that if you want to please somebody, what is one important thing that we must know? Anyone would like to volunteer to answer? What must we know about that person?
What he likes.
Wonderful. First thing is what he likes. Any other answers beyond this?
What he doesn't like.
What he doesn't like. Yes. Okay. What else?
Accepting the person as he is.
Sorry, Mataji, again?
Accepting the person as it is unconditionally.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So not try to change Krishna, but understand how he is. Very good. Sometimes we try to change God and tell God, please God, you fit into the way I am, rather than us trying to fit into. That's why in olden times, when a girl go to another family, the girl's mother would tell the girl that you are going from one environment to another environment. You have to adjust your psychology to the culture, habits, way of thinking in that family. Otherwise, there'll be kalaha. There'll be disturbance, irritation, etc., rather than wonderful, sweet relationships. Isn't it? You all agree? Yes. So, it's very important to understand the psychology of the person whom we are trying to please. If we know what he likes, what he dislikes, and if we know their psychology, and we are intelligent, properly trained and guided, then we know how to approach, how to talk to this person in a way he likes. Right? Sometimes even what to speak about others, even sometimes when devotees go and meet their guru, then some senior disciples will stop and say, so wait, before you go and meet guru, let me tell you, don't do like this, do like this, don't speak like this, he will not like it. For example, my Guru Maharaj, if he is compared with his God brothers, he doesn't like, because he has a very humble attitude. So don't go and say, Maharaj, you are great, or this, he doesn't like it. So there are many such things. I'm just giving some examples. So it's very important to know the psychology, thinking, liking of a person if you want to please. We cannot demand that the person be pleased. We have to adjust ourselves and our thinking, our behavior, our way of service to the way the Lord wants and expects it. Because we have to understand, we are, sorry, please be on mute, everyone. Anand Sundari Mataji is not on mute. Yeah. Okay. So, Anand Sundari Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, I'm
Sorry.
muting it.
No, it is repeatedly going into
Yeah, I'm
unmute.
trying to mute it.
No, I am muting it for you. It's okay. You don't. Yeah, because there's some background sound from the other side. Yeah. Thank you. Now it's okay. Now you don't need to touch it. Thank you very much. So it's very important that we take that approach, because when we serve somebody, the objective of the service is to please the object of our service. I'm repeating it. The objective of service is to please the object of our service. I remember even in my childhood, and I'm sure most of you all do as well, whenever some relative would be invited for lunch or dinner, we would invariably call them a week earlier and says, please tell me what you want to eat. What do you like? Or if not directly to that person, we'll ask somebody who's close to that person, hey, what does he like? What he doesn't eat? I want to know. Because if we prepare the best items which we think are best and they don't like all that, then how are we going to make them happy? I'm just giving a mundane example so you can appreciate the point. So all these things are important, because then we are equipped in the right way to please Krishna. So chapters like these in the Bhagavad Gita are very valuable, because Krishna opens up his heart with respect to how he thinks about his devotees, how he likes to deal with his devotees, how he expects others to deal with them. Because if Krishna is very liberal with his devotees and others are not, then that will not be very pleasing to Krishna, isn't it? So all these things are not just some theoretical concepts. These are very beautiful insight into Krishna's heart. So please take it like that. And when we understand this, we should try to absorb these points so that we build it into our character, mold our consciousness accordingly. That is why this whole topic of Vaishnava etiquette, what we call as Vaishnava etiquette, is so very important. Because what is Vaishnava etiquette? Vaishnava etiquette is molding our body, words, mind in a way that will be pleasing to Krishna. And of course, pleasing to Krishna includes pleasing his devotees, because you cannot please Krishna without pleasing his devotees. Mad bhakta pujabhyo adhika. In fact, Krishna puts worship or pleasing his devotees higher than pleasing himself. So that again, Krishna is revealing his heart, isn't it? That statement itself is Krishna revealing his heart. Krishna saying, you want to please me? You please my devotees. Then we become smart. Oh yes, Krishna is in Goloka. It's so difficult for me to access him, but his devotees are here, 2 condominiums away. I can please them, and if I please them, then I please Krishna. Just like when we want to deposit money in the bank, we don't always have to go to the branch. There is a ATM machine which also has a cash collection. I deposit here also, it still goes into my bank account only, isn't it? So there are many places. So there are many ways to serve Krishna. And in some ways, Krishna enjoys the service even more. In the scriptures, Lord Krishna also mentions that some people offer me wonderful offerings by putting it into the sacrificial fire, the yajna. But I don't enjoy those offerings as much as if nice, wonderful, tasty prasad is put into the mouth of my devotees by someone, then I like to eat that prasad through the mouth of that devotee. And that pleases me even more than the offerings made into a yajna. Do you understand this, or is this complicated? We do in a yajna, right? We offer ghee, we sometimes offer fruits, we sometimes offer sweet rice, various things into the yajna fire. The yajna fire is compared to the tongue of Lord Vishnu. So in the yajna, Lord Vishnu eats the offerings. It's the mouth of Vishnu, the yajna fire. He accepts offerings. But Krishna says, more than that, I enjoy eating. There is another mouth I have. One is the yajna fire, and another mouth is the mouth of the devotees. Those who are dear to me, if you feed them, it is as good as feeding me, or even better. Because I enjoy those offerings through the mouth of my devotees. So Krishna is revealing his heart. So this particular wonderful special attribute of Krishna, which is Bhakta Vatsalata, is actually such a prominent characteristic of Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagwan, that we must understand this point very, very well. And we have to, I'm using a word which has a negative connotation, but I still want to use it. But please don't take a negative connotation out of it. We must exploit not in a negative sense, but exploit in the sense, make maximum use of that nature of Krishna to make spiritual advancement. Correct? If we know something somebody likes and we want to become close to somebody, will we do what he likes or will we do something which is opposite of that? That's what I meant by exploit. Exploit not in a negative sense. Maximize, somehow see how I can. So these things are very important to understand, because here in this chapter, Krishna is revealing his heart, and he will continue to reveal his heart in the next few verses for the rest of this chapter. So it is very important. So please keep this in mind. These are not just philosophical lessons for us to hear, but these are wonderful revelations. Please understand, this is God himself speaking about himself. This is not somebody's opinion about God. I think he likes mangoes. I think he may like this. I think blue color shirt will look good on him. Krishna is telling, I wear pitambar and I wear this kind of garland. I wear this kind of dress. This is what I like to eat. So let's stick to it. Let's not try to. Of course, at home, I know it's a bit different. If we create pizza and pasta, still want to offer it to the Lord. But in temple, we are, even more conscious and sensitive about what Krishna likes. Okay. So having said that, this is important. I spent some time on this because it's very important. You understand and we all understand what is it that we are looking for when Krishna is mentioning all these verses. So please keep this in mind. So in 9.30, Krishna reveals a very wonderful principle, something which is very, very interesting and very non-intuitive. Krishna says, Apichet suduracharo bhajate mamananyabhak sadhur eva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hisaha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in my devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. Why? Because he is properly situated in his determination. Now let me break down that for you for simplicity. What Krishna is saying, if somebody is practicing bhakti with determination and with a genuine desire to please and serve Krishna, even if he is not yet so purified, and because of that, he is still, because of his conditioning, sometimes accidentally performing some wrong actions, which are not considered as the best standard of saintly behavior. Krishna says, even then, what I expect, Krishna is telling, what I expect is that you should consider them saints nonetheless. Why? Because the very ultimate object of all saintliness is to develop a relationship with me, and they are firmly fixed in the cultivation of that relationship. They are already standing under the shower. Somebody who's already under the shower taking a bath, you cannot go to him and say, hey, you are dirty. Why you are dirty? And scold them. Does it make sense? Oh, you are dirty. If somebody is dirty and sitting on the sofa and not taking bath, then we can scold them. But if somebody is already under the shower of Krishna consciousness by seriously taking to the process of taking shelter of Krishna, that process of taking shelter of Krishna itself is the purifying process by which all the dirt will go. If the person is already taking bath by endeavoring to serve Krishna, what is the point of pointing finger and saying, you are dirty, see there is mud here, there is mud here, there is mud here? Do you get the point? I hope you do, because this is a very important point. So, we should not criticize or judge others unless we are in a position to help them and guide them in a very positive way. Because Krishna says, I consider them saintly. Let's discuss the next verse, and then I want to share some more thoughts with you, because the next verse is very much related. We'll discuss it together. Kshipram bhavati dharma atma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. This is also another very, very beautiful, wonderful statement of Lord Krishna, where again he reveals his heart. Very beautiful. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Very soon he'll be purified. Why very soon? First, because he's under the shower. You're simply sitting on the sofa waiting for the mud to drop off the body and somehow get cleaned. That's not going to happen. Krishna consciousness is the most powerful, ultimately powerful cleaning process. Because Krishna is all pure. The more we connect with Krishna, we become purified very fast. So, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Very soon, even though you see mud, the mud, you come after 5 minutes. You say, you were muddy, now you are fully clean. Of course, in a bath, it may be in 5 minutes, but in this world, 2 years, it may take a decade, but we will see that the devotee is becoming gradually pure and pure and pure in his thinking, in his eating, in his habits, in his behavior, in his ability to serve. So Krishna says we must recognize such a person as a sadhu. He says sadhu, he uses the word sadhu, a saint. Even if he at the current moment is still not able to come to proper behavior. Again, Krishna here is not giving us a license to do nonsense. Prabhupada explains this in the purport. He talks that when a devotee takes to the process of Krishna consciousness, He wants to gradually come to the perfect standard of saintly behavior, but because of his conditioning and impurities which are still in the heart, because the bathing is still going on, sometimes he still gets angry, sometimes he still gets lusty, greedy, and sometimes he does things which are inappropriate in various ways. And sometimes some of those activities may even be things which may be considered in general as sinful. But because a devotee is practicing and sincere knows what is the right standard, when they do such a thing, after doing it, they repent. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. So bad. I was not meant to do this, but I did this. I spoke like this, I did this, I cheated, or whatever way we may be violating the principles of dharma or violating the principles of Krishna consciousness because of our weakness. Then the devotee sincerely repents and he endeavors to correct himself. The endeavor doesn't stop. He doesn't say, oh, I am devotee, Krishna said saintly, I can do anything. Then one becomes offensive to Krishna. Then Krishna doesn't appreciate it. Then one eventually leads to one's own destruction. But if one is sincerely endeavoring, but struggling to come to the right standard of spiritual behavior, Krishna is so accommodative and so liberal. That's what Krishna is revealing his heart. He's saying, I am overlooking your faults and I am giving you degree before you have even completed your studies. I am calling you devotee, I am calling you saint, even though you are not fully pure. And I am asking the world, treat this person as a saint. That is what Krishna is saying. You understand what a big statement Krishna is making? Krishna is saying, if somebody is seriously practicing Krishna consciousness and endeavoring to reach the ideal standard of pure behavior, then he should be considered saintly, even if at the moment is not yet purified. That is how much Krishna is giving importance and value to those who take up devotion. This is, by the way, not available to all other categories of yogis. He's talking about those who are practicing devotion to him. Ananya Bhakti. This is about Ananya Bhakti. This whole chapter. Shipram Bhavati Dharmam. Very soon, don't be worried. Just encourage such a person to continue practicing Krishna consciousness. The medicine is already there. Correct? Prabhupada would give another example, just like one example we gave under the shower, right? You don't criticize. Similarly, if you go into a hospital and see on the bed somebody, a patient, you say, oh, you are sick, you are sick, you are sick. Yes, of course I'm sick, but that's why I'm in the right place, that I'm in the hospital. I agreed I am sick, I agreed I need to be treated, and I'm taking medicine and I'm listening to the doctor. What more you want me to do? Can I recover overnight? No, I can't. So Krishna says, just admit yourself into the hospital. Be treated. As long as you're connected to the process, as long as you are guided by Guru and the senior devotees, we remain protected and Krishna considers us as devotees. Many times, Prabhupada's disciples, young disciples in their 20s, barely a couple of years connected to Krishna consciousness, they would ask Prabhupada, we are not so advanced, this, that. Many ways they would say, and Prabhupada would say that, no, you all are pure devotees. But so many of them had so many faults, so many of them were faltering in so many ways. Prabhupada said, no, because you are convinced of the goal, you have accepted the conclusion, and you have wholeheartedly accepted the process and making proper endeavors to reach the goal. Krishna considers you a devotee. a saint. That's why you should be treated as such, and that's why all of us are also considering you, and that's why you are a pure dude. You may not yet be a ripe mango, you may be a raw mango, but you're a mango nonetheless. You're not papaya, you're not bitter gourd, you're a mango. You may be raw. You understand the difference, right? A mango is supposed to be sweet, but if you cut a raw mango, it will be sour. If you cut a mango which is very raw, it may even be bitter. So you just have to give time to the mango to become ripe. But at least inside that fruit is the mango, the seed of the mango. It is a mango. So it will grow up to be a mango. It is not banana, it is not guava, not chiku. Sorry if I have offended any of the fruits, but I'm just taking mango as an example. So that is the point. So this is how Krishna says he looks at his devotees. And then Krishna makes a very wonderful statement that again gives a very, very deep insight into Krishna's heart. He says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O Kaunteya, O Arjun, I want you to declare it that my devotee never perishes. It is my vow that my devotee never perishes. You declare it. So it's a very wonderful statement. If Krishna wants to tell that his devotee never perishes, and when he says devotee, he's talking about all these categories, devotee at all levels, not just those who have achieved the highest levels of prem, but even the person who is still struggling to elevate himself in spiritual life, but at least has accepted in his heart and is convinced that this is the goal he wants to work towards, and sincerely making endeavor, sincerely trying to chant Hare Krishna, sincerely associating with devotees, reading Gita, Bhagavad, following the principles, trying, failing, but trying again, failing, trying again, not giving up. One who is determined like this, Krishna says, for them also and that is what devotees have to do, because then Krishna considers you family. That's what we want to do, right? What is the goal of our devotional service? We are not doing devotional service, especially in our tradition, just to be free from the cycle of birth and death. That Krishna's devotees easily achieve. That which the yogis take great effort to achieve, liberation is easily available. There are many shlokas which discuss that. I don't want to go into that now, but it's very easily available. We want to be part of Krishna's family. What is Krishna's family? In the inner circle in Vrindavan, we want to be like a parent to him. We want to be a close friend to him, where we can play with him, share our tiffin with him. Or we want to serve him like the gopis and dance in the Rasa Leela with him. In so many ways, so very closely and intimately. And that is what Krishna is inviting here. And that invitation, that possibility of entry into that sphere is possible only through Ananya Bhakti. Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya aham evam vido arjuna gyatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantam. The Gita itself, Krishna says, only through Ananya Bhakti I can be known as I am, and you can enter into the mysteries of my understanding only through this process. And you can enter my abode and enter into a close relationship with me through the process of Ananya. So why he is telling Arjuna, you declare it? It's a very interesting point. The reason why Krishna is telling Arjuna, you declare it, because sometimes when Krishna takes a vow, I will not lift a weapon, I take vow. Sometimes it is observed Krishna breaks his vow. Yes, of course he breaks but doesn't break because Krishna is very smart. He is the smartest. He breaks but doesn't break. For example, said he'll not take weapon. He took the chariot wheel. So chariot wheel is not a weapon, but in one sense it's a weapon. So Krishna is very smart. So, but he breaks, but he doesn't break. Krishna will sometimes say, I don't lie, but he may lie. If you notice and analyze all these activities where apparently Krishna says something contradictory, you will always see Krishna did that contrary activity only because if he had said the truth, it would make his devotee become untrue. So Krishna gives more importance to the word of his devotee rather than his own word. For him, that is more important. Otherwise, Krishna will never, I'm just giving an example, never lie or never do something contrary. Only when it is about choosing between his devotee's word and his word, which of those two will stand. For example, Krishna said, I will not take weapon. After that, when Bhishma heard that vow of Krishna, Bhishma said, oh, he took such a vow. I will ensure that Krishna takes weapon. Correct? Exact opposite, right? And Bhishma is such a great devotee of Krishna. Of course, he did it on purpose because he wanted to show Krishna's glory. So now Krishna has a choice either to keep his word or to keep Bhishma's word. So when Krishna comes into situations like this, Krishna takes the humble position and lets his devotee become heroic. That is Krishna's character. It's so amazing, Krishna's character and personality. He's the supreme personality of God. He doesn't say, Arey, you are just a human being. It's okay if your vow goes false. I am the supreme Lord. Krishna never says, it's okay. For my devotee, it's okay if I become false. But I will never let my devotee's promise go in vain. That is Krishna's thinking. That is why Krishna is telling Arjuna, maybe if I say my devotee never perishes, some people may think, don't know in what situation Krishna may try to sneak out of this commitment. So he tells Arjuna, you declare it. Because once you speak it, I have no choice. If I speak it, I may still exercise my choice of doing it or not doing it in certain situations. But if you do it, because for me, my devotee and his word, his honor is always more important. This is how much Krishna values and loves his devotees. And the more pure we are in our devotion, the more this is true. He loves all devotees, but he especially loves those who are having a high quality of devotion, who are purified. So that's where we want to become dear. That's why we want to become purified, so that we become more dear and more pleasing to him. That is the consciousness of pure devotional service. So he says, my devotee never perishes. Do not think, Arjuna, just because he has so many faults, he will perish. As soon as a devotee comes under the shelter of my devotees, or a sadhaka comes under the protection of my devotees and sincerely practices devotional service, he comes under my protection. I take responsibility. I will make sure, even no matter what happens, he may slip, but I will not let him fall. Even if he falls, I will pick him up and make sure he goes ahead. He will continue. Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashati. My devotee never perishes. Again, very important to reiterate, this promise of the Lord doesn't mean that you can say, I am a devotee, so I can do this wrong, that wrong. Then that becomes actually an offensive mentality. Why it is offensive? Because then one is thinking, I actually don't care whether Krishna likes this or not. I will do this because I have this license. That mentality is not very pleasing to Krishna. So what is the point? We make advancement by pleasing Krishna. We don't make advancement simply by following technicalities for the sake of following technicalities. So let us keep this in mind. There is so much we can discuss on this, but in the interest of time, I am moving ahead. We can discuss a bit more later in question answers. Okay, I think we have discussed more or less. Now, having mentioned in the previous two verses, what Krishna mentioned is about incidental mistakes. Incidental mistakes means that devotee is trying to behave properly, but somehow he falls short. On some days, in some situations, for some reasons, he becomes weak spiritually and he makes mistakes, and then he again comes back and he starts. But Krishna says that this doesn't just apply to incidental mistakes. This also applies to inherent faults that a devotee may be born with. What does that mean? What is an inherent fault? Inherent fault means there may be shortcomings that a person may have just because of one's birth. I'll just give an example. Now, many people ask this question. Oh, I was born. I mean, they don't talk about themselves. They just give an example of somebody else. They say, what if a person is born in a family of thieves and from his childhood was trained to be a thief? What if he was born in the family of butchers who are cutting flesh? So Krishna is in the next verse becoming broader to say this is not just about that. Even those who are from backgrounds which may be either less privileged or actually sinful. Less privileged means they may not be as competent or as equipped for spiritual advancement as others. Even they will rapidly make spiritual advancement and attain the highest destination very soon. He says, Mam hi partha vyapashritya yeyapi syuhu papayonayah striyo vaishyas tata shudros tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, Krishna says, if somebody takes shelter in me, even if they are born in a disadvantaged situation, in a yoni, where one may not be in such an advantageous situation to make spiritual advancement, whether it be in a family of merchants who are attached very materialistically, whether it be Shudras who are unclean and untrained, or it be simple women who are not so equipped intellectually or so to practice hard austerities and other things. All of these can attain the supreme destination. So please understand, it is not about any great material qualification. The most important thing, Arjuna, is seriously taking shelter of me and practicing Ananya Bhakti. Incidental faults or being born in a particular situation of any kind of material disadvantage, I overlook and I consider all of them devotees, and I quickly purify them so that they'll be eventually pulled out from that situation and given. There are many examples of this. Once a person becomes sincere, then Krishna figures out now what to do to pull him higher. So many devotees so many times have thought, I have no idea. I am stuck in this situation. I have no idea how I can come out from this. And there could be 1 million such scenarios. So I don't want to go into those examples because we don't have so much time. Say, I'm just stuck. I can never do this. I want to serve Krishna. I'm trying, but there's no way. But you may think there is no way. Why you're telling Krishna there is no way? For Krishna, there are a million ways. From 0 ways, Krishna can devise 1 million ways and even 1 billion ways. So when we surrender to Krishna sincerely, we should leave that to Krishna. Of course, we should do our part, but we should know that Krishna may have even a brighter plan than our most bright plan. And many devotees eventually, when they look back at their own lives and they say, wow, I can never imagine how Krishna pulled me out from this situation and placed me in a different situation, where now I have come out from a disadvantaged situation to a situation where I can actually practice my devotional service so wonderfully. Or that I can overcome my shortcomings in such a wonderful way. So Krishna does that. Krishna orchestrates the life of his devotee. Krishna doesn't just leave it to karma. For his devotees, Krishna doesn't leave their life to karma. Krishna personally orchestrates. Every karma that comes into the life of the devotee, it passes on Krishna's desk first. Krishna looks at it. Okay, Renuka ji. Yes. Oh, why like this for Renuka? She's such a nice devotee. No, cancel. Tear that paper and put it into dustbin. This one, no, so much. This is too much trouble. Okay, last life she may have done this, but let us give her small token of punishment. Instead of being, chopped off by a sword, let her have a pinprick. So one day she gets a pinprick. Krishna, why you gave me a pinprick? But she doesn't know that actually she was supposed to be cut by a sword. But Krishna changed that punishment to a pinprick. We complain the pinpricks also. So Krishna is actually so kind. He's always adjusting, accommodating. And everything goes through the filter of his love, of his compassion, as far as devotees are concerned. That is why devotees should endeavor to develop the consciousness that whatever is coming to us is Krishna Prasad. And Krishna Prasad. Prasad is not just what we eat. Prasad means the Lord's grace, his kindness. And God's grace comes not just through food. It is definitely one way. It also comes through all the events that he orchestrates in our life. So that by knocking on our consciousness, he adjusts it, make it suitable and perfectly aligned with the culture of the spiritual world, so that we can enter the spiritual world with a consciousness which is perfectly suited to pleasing him and all his devotees. So there will be a bit of knocking. You understand knocking? When you have an accident in a car. Some months ago, I banged my car somewhere and body got pressed inside. Took it to the garage and they said, no, I have to knock this body to straighten it out again. So when something goes out of shape, the garage, there are special technicians who will knock it and make it back into shape, paint it, and it will look as if, nothing happened to this car. So our consciousness has become so distorted right now. Some knocking Krishna has to do, but Krishna just makes sure that only what is necessary is what he will pass through. Whatever he thinks this is not going to add value to the devotee's spiritual evolution, Krishna may just decide to skip it. Okay, don't want. Okay, this full force, let it go. Correct. So for example, I'm just taking a name just as an example. Now, please don't think I have anything specific why I targeted this person, why I targeted. I'm just taking random examples. Okay, so I'm taking Meenal Mataji's examples. Okay, so I'm not going to tell any story. I'm just saying, okay, this she needs this situation so that she can develop in this way. Let it go. Krishna may decide like that. So when intense situations come in our life, we should always think, what is it that Krishna wants me to learn? This is how the devotee tries to think. I know it's not easy. It is very challenging, especially when very difficult situation comes. But the point is, if a devotee remains humble, tolerant, depending on Krishna and grateful to Krishna, then the lesson in that particular situation will become evident. Or even if it doesn't immediately become evident, at least it will bear the right fruit and eventually we will understand why it came. So it's very important to have that consciousness. And when we understand what is the way Krishna deals with his devotees, then it becomes easier to deal with all these situations, because then we know that everything is coming through the filter of his love. Then we do not become angry at God. Oh God, for you, I am chanting Hare Krishna and this is what you do to me. I did so much. I offered you so much wonderful prasad and this is what you did to me. So we don't start thinking like that. We understand that his grace comes in various ways. He says, everyone can attain my supreme destination. My mercy is always available. Then the next verse says, the disadvantaged souls also can do. Then what to speak of those who are already well equipped, those who are already born in very pious Brahmanical families and they are righteous souls. And what about those who are already my devotees since previous lives and those who are saintly kings? How much more easier it will be for them. If even disadvantaged people can make rapid spiritual advancement and attain the supreme destination, what to speak of those who are in already a good situation? Kim punar brahmanaha punya bhakta rajarshayasthatha anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Arjuna, the conclusion of all this discussion is, I'm sharing my heart. And after sharing my heart, you should understand, don't worry about your situation. Don't worry about your background, even if it is sinful, even if your life is in a mess. If you're struggling, following so many principles, don't give up trying to love me. Don't give up or stop, or doesn't matter what level you are. Accept the process with faith at whatever level and seriously endeavor. Lot of help will come. Even things you think impossible will become possible by my grace. That is why Krishna says, he gives a supreme final instruction about loving him. And he summarizes this instruction. This is the verse which we said is the most important verse of the Gita, repeated twice in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna concludes the 9th chapter with this verse. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam mat parayanaha. Very beautiful. Krishna says, I'll summarize, make it very simple. I'll break it down very simple for you, what it means to love me if you are still getting confused. All you have to do is, mana, think about me. Bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee. Serve me, love me. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, offer your respects, be humble in front of me. if you do this throughout your life, from this point onwards or whatever, at least endeavor seriously to do this, I guarantee you that you will come to me without fail. Another guarantee by Krishna. Mamev aishyasi satyam te. In the same verse, when he says at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he adds one more word. Satyam te, I'm telling you the truth. Believe me. Don't think I'm simply doing advertisement. Sometimes advertisement, when you get the product, when you open the wrapper, oh, this looked so nice on the poster, but when it came, it looks like this. Today only Chandrika got something. She opened it. Oh, this is so small. I also ordered something. When I saw it on the picture, it appeared so big. I probably didn't look at the dimensions. When I got it, it was this size. So material world is like that. The promise is great, but the delivery of the value is very small. Krishna says, no, I am telling you, I am the Supreme Lord. I have full power to do whatever I want to do. I will guarantee you come to me if you follow this. Now, just 2 more minutes before we end. I want to explain this verse slightly more. And across all these verses, there are many, many more points. I'm just going through it faster because we don't have enough time. Otherwise, each of these verses, we can have a full class or 3 classes per verse. This verse we can discuss endlessly. So the Acharyas explain, Krishna is giving 4 levels of spiritual practice. In one way to see is, do this 4. Think of me, serve me, worship me, offer obeisances to me. Another way to look at this is, think of him as always think. This is not about talking about one day. This is talking about doing this throughout one's life. So endeavoring to remember the Lord always. But remembering the Lord always may not be so easy unless one is purified. Then Krishna says, if you cannot, then you practice bhakti. Because bhava mad bhakto, become my devotee, because through that bhakti you will be able to remember me. But if you are struggling to serve me and become my devotee, at least start by worshipping me. Then by worshipping me, gradually you will come to becoming a devotee. By becoming a devotee, you will come to start thinking about me always. Cannot even worship me? Is there such a situation? Are you born in Afghanistan or in Pakistan that Taliban is having his gun on your head? I have met actually Krishna conscious devotees from Iran and other places. It's just amazing. I'm talking about from other faiths. So without mentioning more, since this class is recorded. And they said, nobody has any idea what we are doing. Because if they find out, we'll be killed. Their determination to become Krishna's devotee is so strong. Some people have said that when everybody in the house sleeps, they go under their bed cover and sit and they start chanting their 16 rounds at that time. Because nobody should find out. That is determination. So when that becomes the determination, Krishna overlooks everything as, this person is so keen to come to me. Doesn't matter that is born in a family of so and so. What is the background? What he has done? Which family? Nothing matters. I take responsibility. I will elevate this person very quickly and push him in the direction of full purification and pure devotion. That is Krishna's. That's what I said. We take 1 step, Krishna takes 10 steps. So he says, even if you cannot do this much, you cannot worship me, at least can you start by folding your hands and just offering obeisances? Start there at least. So accept me as the Supreme Lord. Take shelter of me by offering Namaskuru. So offer obeisances, worship, serve and follow the principles of devotional service, come to the point eventually of always remembering. Something similar will be discussed in the 12th chapter again, where a sequence, something similar will be discussed. So this is Krishna's very beautiful promise. And this is what the process of Ananya Bhakti entails. It's as simple. Krishna is not saying, learn this yajna, learn that yajna, learn. No complications. Because bhakti is a function of the soul. All we have to do is understand what Krishna likes, what Krishna wants, and act accordingly. Remember him, serve him, and please him. And he will do whatever else is needed to make sure we become successful in our efforts to reach the supreme destination. Doesn't matter how big the obstacles seem. So as they just said, no, don't tell Krishna how big your obstacles are. Tell the obstacle how big Krishna is. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. Don't tell Krishna how big your obstacle is. Krishna, I cannot practice, you see my situation. What can I do? See, my husband is like this. You see, my family is like this. You see, I don't have money. So you should understand, Krishna, that I cannot become your devotee. That is not the approach to take. The approach to take is, Krishna, I don't know how this problem will get solved. I don't know how to come out of it. I have no idea. I am depending on you. But depending on you doesn't mean I just sit. Not that I read newspaper. Krishna, I'm depending on you. I'm reading news. No. We do whatever is possible within the given situation and circumstances. Practice spiritual life. We may falter, we may struggle. We are continuously endeavoring in the association of devotees. And then we tell Krishna, Krishna, you show me the way out. And then wonderfully Krishna will arrange in such a way that we can make very rapid spiritual advancement. And we will not even realize how big situations in our life are just changed. Because for Krishna, it is so simple. He is watching the whole chessboard. He can just suddenly move a few pieces here and there, and the whole game changes. Krishna is game changer always. So always remember that. Even if the devatas go against you, there were many situations, and this exactly we see in Krishna Leela. There was issue with Lord Brahma, there was issue with Indra. In another episode, there was an issue with Lord Shiva. Krishna just changed the game. It doesn't matter. Even up to Lord Balaram taking a position different from Krishna, Krishna says, no, I will manage. I will manage. It's Krishna's problem. He knows how to manage. Even if Balaram goes against you. I'm talking about the episode of Bhimsen. Balaram went against him I'm talking about Bhimsen and Duryodhan's fight. Balaram was, I will kill this Bhimsen. How dare he hit Duryodhan on the thigh? Krishna intervened and managed the whole situation. Krishna can manage anybody and everything. So let us do what is in our control and let us not worry about what is not in our control. That is what Krishna is trying to say. After explaining all of this, Krishna says, understand my nature and just do this. Anmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishyasa yuktva atmanam matparayana. Become matparayana. Take shelter of me. Surrender to me by these four processes. And stick to it. No matter what it is. Amit Prabhu is giving the example of Prabhupada. Yes, how Prabhupada had no idea how he will spread Krishna consciousness. But he had so much faith and devotion and he wanted to do it. And Krishna created all the wonderful facilities for him to eventually make it happen. Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu. So with that, we will end. Sorry, I went a few minutes ahead, but since I started late, I took the liberty. So I want to open up the floor if there are any questions. If you're getting late, if you want to step out, that is fine. But otherwise, if there are any questions, we can take a few questions.
Prabhuji, one more incident. I was watching Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrit, so it mentioned when Prabhupada's typewriter and everything was stolen, then he used to go to the shipping office and ask when the ship will go back to India. And then every time he'll go and ask, the manager asks that you every day come, but you don't go back to India. You just ask only when the ship is going back. So then Prabhupada uh, uh, wrote a letter to Krishna that is this what you want me to do? But my mission is incomplete. Everything is stolen. But if you still want me to be here, I'll be here. So
Of course, there are many, many wonderful examples in the lives of Prabhupada and so many acharyas. But what I also want to emphasize is, and that is what Krishna is emphasizing here. Sometimes we think all these wonderful, great things are happening only in the lives of great, pure devotees who have reached that highest level. What can be done in my case? I am still so trapped and still so much struggling, isn't it? But what Krishna is saying is, no, I am taking charge of your life. I am going to get involved in taking ownership and going to help you out through everything, no matter how low you are, no matter how much you are struggling, no matter how difficult, disadvantaged your situation, even if it is you are trapped in a sinful web. What was Kubja's background? Do you know? She was a prostitute, in one sense. But Krishna purified her. And there are so many other examples in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna, those who surrendered to Krishna, Krishna transformed them from a difficult, abominable situation into a situation of pure love. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind. So the point is, there is a lot of hope for us. That is the bottom line of today's discussion. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So I'll see you again on Saturday. And thank you for those who have kept your video on. I appreciate that and hope the numbers increase next week. So to please Krishna, please make a little bit more effort. So we can also see you, then we'll become happy. So make a little bit effort. For those who sincerely can't because they're cooking in the kitchen at the same time. Of course, if you're in the washroom, we don't want you to put your video on. Needless to say. So obviously, we are not going to push you in other situations. You have to be honest to yourself. So wherever it's possible, please do that. And if you switch your video on and off in between, as you are running around, that's okay as well. The more we interact, the more we connect, the more it will be good. Okay, so thank you all very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radhashtami is coming on 14th of September, so prepare your consciousness accordingly as well. Try to discuss something about Radhashtami.
Fasting also,
maybe on Saturday. Yeah, fasting till noon on Radhashtami, 14th September. Okay, thank you very much. Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.